The following presentation is brought to you by the Pride of ODU, the official NIL collective of Old Dominion Athletics. Be a monarchist. Join the Pride. Monarch Nation, welcome back. We are here today with a special guest from App State to learn more about the Mountaineer program. Joined today by Big C of the Black and Gold podcast. Welcome to the show, Big C.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on. Always a good time to talk college football with people who love Sunbelt football.
100%. So first, obviously the Boone area in Western North Carolina has been hit really hard by Hurricane Helen, and the aftermath has been pretty bad. But how is App State adapting and recovering from this disaster?
Adapting is probably the biggest part of this. The storm came on a Friday. Basically, it wasn't an overnight storm. You basically saw it all unfold in front of you. And I didn't know. I mean, we just thought it was going to be a normal storm. And then when we saw our main street in town, which is called King Street, looked like a river, we all, I think, knew something was different. Something was up. And the biggest problem was that there was rain long before it. So we had like good 10 inches of rain before the storm even got here. So we were already saturated. But while school was closed almost a solid 2 weeks, we had football players and staff displaced, roads blocked, homes flooded, et cetera. So this was not just an isolated deal where everybody else dealt with it, like the team dealt with it. The head coach had to get his own chainsaw out to get out of his house or out of his driveway. This is it's a mountainous area. There are trees absolutely everywhere. There are creeks everywhere. And if there was a creek or a tree that could have fallen or flooded, it did. We still are working through hundreds of roads not being repaired, driveways, you name it. And while we were not in school, we couldn't practice like everyone else could, and we were still having games. It's an NCAA rule that if you're not open, you can't practice like you would had you been open. So we had a couple of weeks of that, and we're still going to get through it. There's going to be a lot of work that has to be done. I mean, it's going to take. Everybody says it's going to take years, but it's going to feel like a year before it really feels normal. It's unlike anything that I've been through. I grew up in the Piedmont, North Carolina. We experienced Hurricane Hugo. That was supposedly the storm of the century, and this one surpassed it by far.
For any of our listeners who want to contribute to helping App State recover and the area of Boone recover from this nasty storm, App State started the App State Disaster Relief Fund. It's a great place to send your dollars if you want to help support them from far away. We highly encourage you to do that. Thanks for filling us in. I want to start with that because obviously we're so close that we are going to send fans to Boone for the game. And I'm happy that you guys can host because it feels like a good distraction for the folks in Boone and that surrounding area. But how was the game day experience last week?
I was actually pleasantly surprised by the number of fans that showed up. It was originally scheduled as homecoming. So that's always going to be a huge crowd. You're going to announce 35,000 for a homecoming crowd. And we announced 33, and it kind of felt like it. Our hill was full. The stands were full in lots of places. Obviously, they had a concert down in Charlotte called Concert for Carolina. Two of our former students, if you've never heard of the name Eric Church and Luke Combs, kind of got that thing together. There were a lot of people who went to that game and then left early and then went to the concert that eventually had a rain delay. But it's for a long day because that rain delay had that concert going until 1 o'clock. But as far as your fans coming to Boone, you're not going to see like a lot of impact coming up 421, which I would imagine a lot of you would be coming from that direction if you're coming from Norfolk, assuming there's ODU fans all over. But really, if you think, there was an impact in Boone, but the greater impact was in the county, the western end. and when people come to the mountains, come to Boone to watch games, they don't just stay in hotels. They stay in Airbnbs and cabins and you name it, all over the place. It is what we do in Watauga County. We do tourism. So that was probably the biggest, real problem we had is like when you get here, can you stay here? And a lot of people, when you usually kick off at 3:30, they do stay here. But moving the kickoff to 1 o'clock, it allowed for, a good solid majority of our fans who come from Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh, Charlotte, to make that a day trip, to be able to leave, at a decent hour down the mountain, 2-3 hours away, and then be able to get back. Avoiding, we didn't, we were scheduled this, we still had curfews out. You still had to get home by a certain time. You couldn't be out and about, not just because of, looting or anything like that, but for your safety. I mean, we had roads falling out even after the storm was long gone. It didn't take much up here. So we didn't want anybody driving off into a creek and things of that nature. And so that's kind of why we played when we did. And we're playing a little bit later this week. And I think, we're getting there. I don't know how much 1 week matters in the grand scheme of things, but that's what we had to do at that point.
All right. Well, now we can focus on the football. I just wanted to make sure that we talked about that for anyone making the trip, and also to kind of plug that disaster relief fund, because it's really important people help out if they can. So let's learn more about you and your podcast. So give us a background on how you guys got started and what your connection to App State is.
So my dad graduated from App State. He graduated twice, 1970, 1983. When I was young, he took me to football games when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Basically, the story is I took my mom's ticket and haven't given it back yet. She's not a fan of the cold weather. So I went to App myself, graduated in 2003. I love it up here. I still live here. I haven't left. I haven't missed a home game outside of 2 COVID restricted situation games since 2001. So I wear that. And just been someone who worked around town and was able to make it work, get married, have kids, all that good stuff, right? And then my podcast host, AJ, came up to me in 2014 and said, I've been wanting to do this. I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. And he says, I want to do this for football season. I said, I'm not doing it unless we do it all year long. And he probably had to think about it. But he's like, well, I want to do it. So we're going to start. And we were really worried at first, like, how do you put out content? How do you talk for like an hour and a half straight or however long? First time we hooked up the mic, we talked for like 55 minutes and it felt like it happened in no time. So we have been doing these shows since. We have done, we do during the fall season, we'll have like a regular episode during the week, and then we'll do a football post-game show on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, whatever that may be. And then we do weekly shows throughout basketball and baseball season. And this is our 10th season. So I don't know how many episodes we've done, probably around 550, give or take 10 or so. But yeah, that's what we've been doing for 10 years, a decade. I can't believe it. Lasts longer than a lot of sitcoms.
Yeah, impressive, man. Keep it up. I know it's not easy because we're trying to do it, and it can kind of feel like a job at times, but keep on doing it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if this was work, we wouldn't do it, right? I mean, this is something we feel like I can, just, all right, we're going to talk about, and sometimes 30 minutes later, like I felt like we talked about it all, and that's all we need. So been able to, book guests and former players, former coaches from all decades, 80s, 90s, 2000s now. Just anyone who loves Appalachian, loves getting on and talking about the Mountaineers.
Awesome. So it's year 5 for Coach Clark. He's had some pretty amazing moments in his tenure in Boone. He's had bowls in each year, a 10-win season in 21, 2 trips to the Sun Belt Championship game, the big win in College Station. But the team has faltered a little bit this season after being named a preseason favorite in the Sun Belt, starting 1-3 in conference. What is the general feeling around his tenure and the support among the App faithful for Coach Clark?
It's always going to be tough here when you have a season like we're having. We are used to nothing but winning. We don't We don't lose. We don't have losing seasons. 2022 was obviously very tough. We had some major highs and major lows that year. But we went through a heck of a September in 2022. We ended up 6-6. We lost to Georgia Southern in overtime after missing a field goal that could have won it. That would have sent us to a bowl game. We had 2 FCS wins that year. And then this year, the injury bug got us. The reason we were tabbed preseason favorites was because we had Joey Aguilar, we had all our receivers, we had running backs, we had our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, quarterback coming back, head coach. Everything looked great. And then everybody started getting hurt. And then you noticed that the offensive line, which we were heavily reliable on the portal because of just how things worked, it's hard to construct a roster anymore year to year, and it has caught up. That's essentially what has come down to is we lost starting nose tackle, 2 starting inside linebackers. Not many people can get away with doing that at this level and just still be good. So we've struggled stopping the run for a stretch. Obviously, the storm didn't help, but we're getting better, even though Georgia State kind of felt like they could do whatever they wanted to against us. It's kind of like where we are. A lot of pressure on the offense to produce, and they're kind of feeling it.
Well, I got to say, Zach Gibson, that change should have happened for Georgia State a lot earlier in the season because, the guy just completes passes. He gets the ball moving for their offense where it was kind of stagnant before with their other quarterback, Bayer. So I think they're a tougher team than their record.
I would agree. I was kind of looking at them and I was like, they 2-4 going into that game last week wasn't really representative. They weren't really out of anything except for Georgia Tech. You don't have the talent to beat a team that can beat Alabama just by chance in Vanderbilt. So they will get better. I wonder how quickly they'll be around in Atlanta. I think Gibson was an upgrade. I hadn't seen a lot of Georgia State because of all their struggles. I felt like we got some pressure on him, a lot of checkdowns. They didn't really have a lot of explosive plays in the past game, but he's a threat and he's played a lot of college football. So, there's always that factor that comes into play.
All right, so talking more about that Georgia State game, you guys were able to pull away in the fourth quarter, winning 33-26. Obviously, you said health is getting better, the team's getting better, and bouncing back from those missed practices. What was your biggest takeaway from that game?
We kind of we had to score late in the fourth quarter because we fumbled driving the previous drive, and we were going to put that game away. And then we were fortunate enough to force them to kick a field goal, which gave us the opportunity to go up 7 with under 2 minutes to go. We had some poor time management decisions as far as call timeouts and when to get we got a big first down, but we didn't need to get a first down by 19 yards on first down. That the defense actually prefers that. It put the clock right back in their hands. So that was unfortunate, but what they were good at all day was running and then have timeouts. Pretty sure they didn't have any timeouts left, so they were forced to pass to an extent. They probably could have run a couple, but they essentially we turned out a good 4-and-out turnover on downs, and we prevailed. It was a game that we had all the momentum early on, and we really should have taken it to them and kind of ran away with it early. But we get the safety, that's great. But we missed a field goal because we have a backup kicker because our starting kicker, who was an All-American, got hurt in the storm in his apartment. So, if something bad could happen in App State football this year, it feels like it has. But we were able to get off the schneid, get a win. It's, we've never lost to Georgia State. That's 11 times in a row. And we'll talk about it forever. I'm sure they'll be worried about the monkey that stays on their back. But we know we got a good challenge this week.
Out of your whole offense and defense, what's the position group you're most confident in?
Offensively, I would say it's our receivers. We're pretty deep at all positions there. Caden Robinson is a senior captain, and he's been around a while. He's put up numbers in the Sun Belt. Christian Horn has been productive. Mekhi Jackson has been a great surprise this year. Dalton Stroman had stepped in when Horn has been out. He is a high pointer, tall guy, can jump, can really run with the ball as well. On the defensive side, tough. It's tough when you can't stop the run, but if we can force you into passing situations where it's not a design pass, but a pass where you got to drop back, I think we've got a little bit of a pass rush. We just haven't been able to get teams in those situations a lot this year.
All right. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, is there a position group that really concerns you?
Yeah, our linebackers are not very good. That's where we've had all the injuries, and we have been rotating out some senior-laden players and some young players who just don't have a lot of the reps at this point. It really concerns me to think about if Old Dominion wants to run it down our throats, that they will. And I know some of the last couple of games that y'all played have not been the best teams against the run, but it is something that concerns me. And then, if our offensive line is just not creating enough explosive plays in the run game, that is kind of what App State does. Is not just 4.5 yards to carry, but like every now and then you need those 20+ plays. That really breaks the defense, and we just haven't seen those running lanes and alleys as we're typically expected to have.
All right, so looking forward to this Old Dominion game on Saturday. Is there one facet you want to see the Mountaineers execute?
Just get stops. Make the other team punt. We haven't done that enough this year. Played South Alabama, forced them to 3 punts, and that wasn't enough. Scored 49 on us. Marshall punted twice. We played Louisiana. Even in a game in which we turned the ball over 5 times, we're -4 in the turnover battle. We got them to punt 4 times, and it was actually closer. It's really simple. It's not like if we could just do a little bit of this better, like kick better, it's just get stops, get people off the field. I think Georgia Southern or Georgia State, how we do. I think they had 1 third down conversion on Saturday, and that just goes a long way when they've got to get all their hay on first and second down. I mean, when we were able to stop them, it was good and it worked, and that's why when we get the ball back, it takes someone get your defense off the field. I mean, it's pretty simple. Get your defense off the field, have your offense take care of the football, and make their defense stay on the field as well.
All right, so give me a guy to highlight. We have Jerron Manning, who is the #1 safety in G5 football this year. And he's one, if you don't want to watch the ball and you just want to focus on one player, that's a good guy to pick out of the crowd and just watch him ball out. Who is that guy for App State that you should just keep an extra eye on to just see him working? And no matter if he's near the ball or not, he's doing something impressive.
Offense or defense?
Your call.
Or just any. Okay. If Eli Wilson plays, he got a little dinged up on Saturday, but he's a kind of a warrior. He's a big dude in the pass game. He is an extension of our offensive line, and I think he's one of my favorite players. But Mekhi Jackson can do a little bit of it all. Early on in the year, we used him on a lot of reverses and things like that, and we haven't seen it for a few weeks, so it's coming, right? These college football coaches are like, oh, we don't watch every play. We watch like the last 3 or 4 weeks. What's working for him? So Mekhi Jackson is going to get the ball and end around this weekend. I don't know how it's going to happen. He's probably going to run for a long way. I think he's electric. He's super fast. And when the ball is in his hands, he can do it. But I really think we've shied away from him for a little bit just so we can, unleash him when we need it.
Awesome. All right. So prediction time. What is your prediction for this game?
Yeah, it's a tough one because, I think this is going to be one of those possession games like it was last year in Norfolk. We didn't execute when we needed to. If I remember correctly, we had to play we wanted to at the end of the game, and the refs didn't blow it the right way or something like that. I don't know if it was a bad look. or a bad angle on. I think somebody was in the end zone catching the ball, but we were right there. Problem is y'all are spreading it out, right? That's what you like to do. You get those receivers outside, read the defense, and do things. And if we can adjust to that, right, then I think it gives us a chance. But it's hard for me to sit back here and say, hey, App State's an underdog at home. Hey, we just don't think like that. We just don't lose here. But I mean, it has happened, and it happened earlier this year. So whatever it is, it's going to be tight. If a team can get to 30, I think that's good. You're probably in good shape if you can get to 30. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a game in the mid 20s. And if we need to depend on our kicker, I wouldn't be excited about it just because he's young and doesn't have the leg strength. But I think it all just comes down to, can we get stops? If we can get 4 stops or 5 stops on offense, I think, or on defense against your offense, I think that gives us a good chance to win by a touchdown or so.
And we'll give you a heads up. Our offense has changed a little bit. We're more multiple now, and we're giving a lot more looks to the defense with Colton as a quarterback.
Yeah, I watched the first quarter, which wasn't all that I needed to watch today of the Georgia Southern game. That was, I think what you got was Georgia Southern on a long road trip on 5 days rest, and then so I realize what you've got going on, but I still see a lot of those same principles that at least I thought I saw last year, as far as spreading out, finding open guys, and just toying with the defense.
Yeah, we're doing a little. I mean, it's just kind of a mixed match. Obviously, with Georgia Southern, we were able to spread them out because they never put a third safety over the middle, so there was no point of changing out of that.
Right.
Because they're leaving the middle wide open all day.
It's crazy how some college football coaches are really, really smart, can adjust on the fly, and I do believe that we are kind of like one of those teams. I think Scottsglen is good at making those adjustments, middle of the second quarter at halftime. Other teams just can't and just won't, and they just refuse. And they are like, hey, this is what we practice, during the week, and if we mess it up, we mess it up.
Yeah. All right. So, final comment. Any advice for the ODU fans making the trip?
If you're making the trip and you eat downtown, there's a lot of great options. Obviously, parking can be a little bit of a struggle. Bring a jacket if it's cloudy. I mean, that's a guarantee. If the sun comes out and it's 62 degrees, it's going to feel like heaven. But if it's cloudy and 62, it's going to feel like it's 48 degrees, and that's a different kind of ball game. So always pack all your gear when you come to Boone, because you just never know what it's going to do. Do not rely on today's forecast or whenever you're listening to this when you're 3 or 4 days out. But yeah, I mean, there's a great, depending on what you like to eat, there's a great ice cream spot downtown, and we serve ice cream all year long. I mean, it's fun. Blue Deer, one of our sponsors. Booneshine Brewery is on the outskirts in East Boone, right off 420 once you come in, another one of our sponsors. But I mean, honestly, that's the best beer in town, and it's not even close. So it's good to have a sponsor who actually puts out really, really good product. But those are the places. Super nice people, super friendly. Tell them we sent you. You might get a free beer or a free cookie or something like that.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Big C. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we can both get through this game without any injuries.
We will take it for sure.
All right. Thanks again.
Thanks, Mike.